This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so some way I should be able to share my screen with you guys.
Mhm.
On my screen, there's a bottom thing that you click.
Well,
in
that's,
between
yeah,
the mic and the camera.
I wonder if I
Share your screen, ask the organizer to make you a presenter, but you must be the
Yeah,
presenter.
my camera screen, share screen. There it is, yeah. Okay, if I can just get the right one too. Can you guys see anything?
There we go. Yep,
Can you see it?
yep.
It's very small. Can you
Is it
make
pretty
it
small? Can I make it bigger? Oh gosh, Dave, okay.
bigger? We can't read it the way it is now.
You can't read it. I can. What do you mean? Speak for yourself.
Oh no, I could actually zoom in on to the right. There's a plus arrow, plus minus.
Can you zoom in on it?
Yeah.
You just put your fingers on it and separate on the mouse pad too. That'll do it.
Ah, okay. Now I can read it.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so there. 1938.67, which is the loss, but that doesn't include the $1,000 that we get from council.
Right. So that puts you back to the 900 you said.
Yeah.
Do we have a statistic? Do we have a statistic when you say you had 60 people who collected garbage with all of these people who came? How many actual people do we know? Or the burger thing, like how many sales there were and things like that? Are we privy to those numbers too?
Well, I know that the tennis club they only brought 40 burgers. I don't know how many, because of the weather, they didn't think they were going to get much of a turnout. And I'm not sure how many sausages or the vegan options they had, but they sold out of their burgers within a half an hour.
Oh, terrific.
Yeah,
I think we had six vegan burgers, 6 or a dozen, half a dozen or a dozen, and they sold out at that. Not sure how many sausages there were.
I know that they made $600.
Oh, great.
So they
Was that the barbecue or with the coffee and other stuff that they were
all together between the donations for the muffins and stuff and between what they made on the barbecue, they made $600. So that's, $600 towards their fundraising goal of $65,000. So the start.
It is a start. It is a start. Well, great.
Yeah, so there's the financials. That's right up to date. It's even got the GFL invoice in that we just got today.
Right.
Okay.
And everybody liked their prizes. The raffle, because I wasn't there. The raffle was a hit. Some of these prizes look awesome. So everybody liked that?
Yeah.
Raffle was really well received. Okay. People were really impressed with the caliber of the prizes.
Well, and also I guess the twist too of you don't know what prize you're going to get, in contrast to our other regular format of choosing the prize, right? That if your name is called, it was yeah, an extra treat, right?
Yeah.
Oh, super.
Great. And did you get any feedback from any of the community groups? Were they happy? Were they disappointed that there weren't more people? Were they happy with the number of engagement?
I got some feedback.
Good.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead. I got feedback from the Bruce Trail. They were happy. They only ran one hike, but they were happy. And actually, all the people from the Bruce Trail were very happy they could get together because they haven't been together since the beginning of COVID. So like the Dufferin Highland group just had like a party in there, kind of 10 of them. Just was so. And Bob Barnett was very happy that he was there. for EBC.
Okay.
Yeah, he was an interesting person to talk with.
Yes, we know him going way back.
And I know the County of Dufferin were happy to be on site because that was also one of their first events as well. And I mentioned that we want to make this an annual event and would love to have them back. And it could be a good opportunity for them to do their compost giveaway, which they've done in the past, but that program isn't running this year, but I think it would be a good event for them to tag that on.
I'm sorry, I missed that. Yoni, say that again.
So the Dufferin County, you know how they do the compost giveaway days, and they like to try to tag team with an existing event with the municipalities where you can bring like your recycling bin, and you can collect compost that is collected from the green bin program. So it gives community members an opportunity to get some of that black gold back. So yeah, they think it would be a great idea to do that for next year's event.
Okay, so to piggyback with a compost giveaway day.
Yeah.
Okay.
And do you know how many seedlings were given out? Were there quite a lot left over?
Yeah. We had quite a few left over. So we had bought 200. I would say we had at least 150 left over.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because not everyone wanted them, you know, like, and then some people would take 3 or 4, but might want to look at that again next year as to whether or not we would spend the money on the seedlings, or at least buy half. Maybe that's a better idea, is just buy half
Maybe
as
just
many
do seeds.
Pardon me?
Or maybe just do seeds of vegetables or flowers or something different, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, also that would not be so perishable, right? What happened to the 150 left over?
Dave got a few, and
I took 20 and I planted them later the same day, and I was very appreciative.
that's great. That's great. And so we gave some out here at the office for people that came into the office, the residents who came in on the Monday, and then the balance we took in our planting out in the parks and the trails.
Oh, okay. All right. So they're not to waste.
Yeah. Oh no, they didn't go to waste. They're planted.
Great.
Okay, so.
So Kim, I'm a little curious, Kim, about the Coroplast signage for $325. What was that? What was the sign? And is that
So we
something?
we had signage made up to thank all the sponsors on how what the events were that day, for parking, for oh gosh, what else? We had
Our big map. Our big map.
Oh, the big map. The two big maps were made. Yeah.
How much of that can be reused next year? The maps.
The map can be reused.
All of it, no?
Well, we won't be able, not the same sponsors. It all, like, because it was thanking the sponsors, another one for the community groups that were there, another one for the schedule of the day. The big banner can be used again that we had made. Yeah.
So basically, my question was if it could be reused, because we just
Some of
had
it
an
can,
earlier
some-
discussion about are these
Yeah.
signs recyclable, and now just looking down the road, anytime that we can make a sign that can be reused because of the similarity, even if it's, well, I mean, even it's not a bad idea what somebody was saying. You could have a chalkboard for some of those things, and then you could just use that year after year, or a whiteboard year after year.
Yep, we used that with some. We did use that, whiteboards and chalkboards as well,
Mhm.
as much as we could. So, I mean, the thing is, you want to make your event look professional. So having haphazard signage doesn't help. So yeah, I mean, we'll use as many as we can, but for every event, there's a cost to signage.
Or trying to use ensuring that using materials that can be recycled moving forward. Because I know TPH, the printing house, they have that option, and they have a great sustainability mandate as well. They're pretty conscious about their footprint.
Sorry, which printing house is that?
The TPH, the printing house.
Oh, okay. Are they local?
I don't know if there's one in Orangeville. They're pretty.
It's a franchise, right?
Yeah, it's a franchise. So I'm not sure if there's one in Orangeville, but we can look into that. And they actually love working with community groups and not-for-profits, and I know I've worked with them in the past on a few events where they have like not-for-profit pricing sometimes, depending on what the event is and who the client is. So just something to consider.
Looks like Alliston is the closest, which is pretty close.
Yeah, no, that's okay. You just don't want one so far away that, like the seedlings, when we picked them up, they were over almost a 2.5 hour drive away.
Ooh.
So
Oh, wow.
by the time I paid mileage and labor for going to pick up those seedlings,
Yeah.
I would suggest that we look at another option for next year. Okay. Okay, anything else? One comment that I had during the day was I had a resident approach me and say, you know, what would be a great event, and it's kind of along this line, is a boot sale. And she says, you probably don't know what that is. And I said, oh, we're familiar with a boot sale. And am I still sharing my screen, you guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh God, how do I stop that? Okay. Stop. Oh, there we go. Is that better?
Yeah.
Yes.
You can see me okay? Like everything's good?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yay. So she said, and it's, you know, kind of along this line, is having a boot sale. And I said, well, we actually used to do that. Like the boot sale is the yard sale where people come and they sell out of the trunk of their cars.
Oh.
Right. And so this lady thought she yeah, that boot, sorry. I said, we used to actually run that, an event just like that. And she wondered what had happened to it. So I explained it to her. And when I was explaining it to her, the mayor was there as well. And he made a note to say, well, I want to relook at that. So Just thought I'd let you know.
Mhm. So you could have a boot sale that is themed, right? I mean, to dovetail it with, I guess, another event, another facet of the Make Mono Shine. It could be or Earth Day or whatever, right? It can be the things, garden implements, or things you want. You could make it themed, so you don't just get a bunch of junk.
Yeah, like how we did that with the Christmas ornaments.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, you could.
Okay.
So what's next?
Any
You
other
mean
comments
what
for
events is,
the event?
pardon me?
Anybody else have any other comments about the birthday event? No? All right. Well, looking forward to next year. We'll make it bigger and better, and hopefully the weather will be better. Okay,
Oh, well, I have one suggestion. I think that having a rain date is an important thing, because it was miserable standing outside. And so we had a rain date. We said it right off the bat. But what happened was the people that we agreed or hired, or however you want to say, the people, when we told them that we were going to do a rain date, then they weren't available. So I think it's kind of, we need to say ahead of time, this is the date and this is the rain date, and you need to keep them both, like, you need to keep them available, and we'll make it. Because we were ready to change it, and the next day was a spectacular day. There would have been way more people involved because the day was so. So that would be my suggestion, is just that we really stick to our, whatever day it is you pick, that's going to be a rain day, whether it's the next day or whether it's the next week or whatever you're going to do, to really firmly say to people that, your commitment to us is one of these 2 days. Are you available?
I think that's important.
Agreed.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it was cold.
It was very cold.
But it got nice. It did clear up a bit as
after the event. It was a spectacular.
As we cleaned up, it did. As we cleaned up, it was nice of it to clear up as we were putting the tables away.
Yeah. At least that was nice for us.
Yes, that's true. But and again, we knew that was what was going to happen, right? That's what the weather forecast had said, right? It's going to clear up and be delightful that night.
One other thing too is if we can know, like, well in advance, because I looked in the Hills, there was nothing in the Hills. I don't know if the word got out really well. Like, it was on social media, but not everybody is on social media with the town of Mono. So, like, it wasn't in the back of the Hills. So we need to know way in advance so you can get it in that issue that's coming out in the fall. And I think you have to tell them, like, in the spring almost.
That's a good idea. Do we usually advertise Mono events in the Hills magazine?
Is that they have a free spot. They ask, for like, they let us advertise for free in community group stuff.
Because
so anything that I know is coming up, I'll put in the Hills.
Okay, because it is a spectacular magazine. It's a great coffee table thing, but I've stopped getting it. Like, I was getting it in my mailbox, and then now I'm not. So, Sally, I'm looking at it electronically.
You can look at it; it'll still be in there electronically, but you have to get in, like, the date. Like, when they did the one on our farm, they did it a year ahead of time. So you have to get in there at least a season ahead of time to put it in.
Yeah.
You have to find out their cutoff dates. I know Trolley pretty well. She did the thing for us, so she's been pretty good. If we know the cutoff date beforehand, we can make sure we know our dates and get it in there.
No, sounds great.
It reaches a lot of people. The electronic version too.
But it also went out, like, we put flyers up on every mailbox in Mono. It went out in the newsletter.
Didn't the newsletter come after the event, Dave? I can't remember.
No, I don't think
It
so.
was like that week or the week before.
Mhm.
So, you know, people other than electronically were told about it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, and the other
Okay.
thing, the people around me, the word got out that, oh yeah, right, we should collect the garbage. And so they did. They collected the garbage before, right? Like got impatient, it's a nice day, let's collect the garbage and whatever. And so then you know, they didn't come to the event. They'd already done their bit of cleaning up around. So in the grand scheme, it worked because we got Mono shining. But for having people come on that day to do that all together, I think it could have, it was good. So maybe it'll be on people's radar for next year too, right? It was our
Yeah.
first event.
Yeah. And I think like if we continue with the date that it's a Saturday following Earth Day, then we always know what the date's going to be.
Mhm.
And it, you know, it can be put in all of the upcoming newsletters and flyers for save the date. And then as we get closer, there'll be more details about the event, but at least they know that
Right.
Make Mono Shine is going to happen on such and such day.
Yeah.
Well,
that's a good idea.
it'll probably,
Plus during
Earth Day
the-
will probably be on a Saturday next year because it's on the Friday this year.
Are you looking it up right now? If you want to tell me what next year,
Next year, Earth Day is a Saturday,
what day?
April 22nd.
Okay, so do you want it to be on Earth Day or do you want it to be
Yeah.
okay, so next year's event date,
April 22nd.
okay,
Awesome.
okay, good.
Great. Okay, let's move on. Mono on a Bike, our next event, which is coming up next Sunday.
Has anyone looked at the weather?
No,
Not
it's
that
too
far.
early.
Are we still too early?
A bit
Yeah.
early. They do give you a 10-day forecast, but I don't know how.
Next week's supposed to be in the double digits. Pretty much all week. I think Wednesday or Thursday we get up to like 20.
My app is saying that Saturday is going to be, that it's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday are going to be 24 degrees.
Okay.
My app is.
Okay, well, Saturday, so we're looking for the next day. We haven't got to the next, at least I haven't.
No, mine only gives me
30%
10 days.
chance of rain on the Saturday, so I don't know what the I don't know what the Sunday's supposed to be.
Okay, I've got the Weather Network here.
What is
It
it?
says for Sunday, the 15th, a mix of sun and clouds with a high of 21.
Awesome.
Okay,
So if that happens, that's great, but
That's
it's 10 days away, so it might not happen.
okay, so just FYI, at this point, we have 3 registrations, that's all, and they're all from Mike Sodden's family.
Good.
Well, at least you know he's coming to the event then.
Well, actually, I think it's just his kids, because he had told us that he wasn't available for the event because of tennis.
That's right.
Yeah, so maybe his wife is going to bring the kids.
Right. So, but I'm just saying, I think we need to look at, like, it's on social media. It is, I've even paid for advertising on social media to extend it further and farther. It's going up on all the mailboxes tomorrow morning. Again, it's on our website. We've gone into the Q&As, that kind of thing. So for the amount of work that goes into this and the amount and the barbecue and everything, I think we need to establish a minimum number of participants that we feel it is worth running this event for, and decide a deadline date of when we're going to make the call. Because if we don't get, like, say, if we don't get any more than 5, 10, you know, to me, that's not worth running an event for, not with all of the work that's involved.
What if previous, I know that we're post-COVID and there's lots of changes, but just what was previous registrations 10 days out?
Yeah, so Mono on a Bike is notorious for people waiting to see what the weather's going to be like. That's why I brought up the weather. Oh, where'd you guys go? That's why I brought up the forecast. There we go. So what I would suggest is that, and a lot of it too, which makes it very difficult, is people just show up on the day of. So to be able to predict how many burgers to buy and all of that, that's a hard thing to do. My suggestion would be,
pardon me, all of the advertising does have register here type sayings on it, right? So they know that we're expecting them to register ahead of time.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry.
So my suggestion is that we give it until noon on Thursday, so that we do have time to advertise if it's not going to happen on Friday. And if it is going to happen, then that gives us time to get things, or like go out and buy burgers and, you know, just kind of do a push right at the end to hand draw signs and all of the rest of it. Because I don't want to spend a lot of money right now with 3 people being registered.
Right.
And not like, and having not paid as well.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got 3 people. So what are your thoughts on that?
What would the minimum number be? 50? 25?
Yeah, I'm saying, see, the thing, I'd like to see, because we can say 30, but a lot of times it's a child and mom and dad. So that means we're only doing it for basically 10 kids. Even though we charge $5 per person, which is, you know, it just kind of helps pay for the barbecue. It doesn't cover the cost of the barbecue, but it helps pay for it.
We were thinking that we were going to get more this year because we have chosen to have it at Menorah, but then maybe because maybe it's like make Mono shine again, you know, to have it for the first time at Menorah Park. Well, people are, you know, maybe not quite aware because they're not people who were coming to the one in Mono to know exactly what it's like, right? Because there should be a ton of kids down there that
have there been posters that have been posted in like the suburbs around that area?
They'll go up tomorrow morning.
Okay, so that will bring some awareness.
Yeah, but I guess where we find we get our most hits is when we pay for social media advertising, and it hasn't helped at all. So that's been out for about a week now. Anyways, I think, you know, I think we should wait till next Thursday, but I think we should have some parameters set to say, okay, this is what works. If we don't hit this parameter, then, you know, we'll cancel.
So 30 kids?
I have a question. I don't know the protocol here, but does it make sense if I raise my hand, I should be called on to speak?
Yeah.
Go
Or do
ahead.
we just jump in there? I'm sensing people just jump in there and I need to
We do
know.
both.
Jump in, Ann.
I really wonder if people don't know what it is. I've been in Mono all these years and I didn't know what happened at Mono on a Bike. And if people see Mono on a Bike, do they have a clue? I don't have a clue. I was anxious to hear all about what happens on Mono on a Bike. So you guys all know, and it's kind of interesting, the only sign up has been from the family of somebody else on this committee. And if there's been a 2-year hiatus from it, there's a lot of new families maybe that came in, or kids. It sounds like it's for kids.
Yeah, it is pretty much.
So, I mean, a lot of new, or kids that were little and they're getting a bit bigger. Like, I don't know what the social media says because I'm not big on social media, but I'll look on my mailbox tomorrow maybe and learn more about it. But I don't know what happens there. And I wonder how many people are out there going Mono on a Bike, huh? And don't jump in there. So what are the details and where would people see them? And what are the ages and what's it look like?
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem is they're not seeing our flyer. They're not seeing it on social media that it's, you know, bike safety event. There's a bike rodeo, there's a barbecue, there's a family ride, there's a 5-kilometer family ride.
We had it in the newsletter, did we not? We had it in the newsletter,
Yeah.
which every resident gets, explaining all that of what it is.
So I usually read the newsletter, but I guess I missed that.
Well, and when did the newsletter come out? Like a month or two ago,
Yeah,
right? So it's now, they've forgotten about it and the newsletter has gone into the recycling.
yeah.
Well, and of course,
It's top of mind for people anymore.
a month or two ago, there was still snow on the ground and people aren't thinking bike. Maybe that's why it sort of went in, you know, I read the newsletter, Mono on a Bike. Well, are we ever going to get out of the snow? I don't know. I'm just trying to troubleshoot why there aren't more people interested. And somebody
we used to
ask the question, how many participants were there 4 years ago when you ran this? Does anybody know that?
Well, this is a relatively new event. When I say that, Mono on a Bike, probably 6-7 years ago, used to be a literally like a bike ride through Mono, and it was anywhere from, I think the longest ride was 70K and the shortest ride was 5K, and I think there was like a 15 and a 30K in between. There were 4 different rides, and the very first year we partnered with a local cycling group, and it was an amazing first year event. Then the next year we did it on our own, and then I think it was the following year that we partnered with Howling Coyote with Dan Marshall, and then the following year we did it on our own again, but we changed the format in that it was more of a, we changed the date from the fall to spring, early spring, or, you know, for beginning of May, so that we could show people, and children in particular, you know, there's safety rules and safety elements to riding a bike at the beginning of the season as opposed to at the end of the season. And we bring in some really fun, what you call bike rodeo equipment, where there's like jumps and rails and things like that for the kids to ride on. And ever
and then they
since
were taken out on guided rides.
and then they also went on a guided ride through Mono Cliffs Provincial Park. But last year, or I guess pre-COVID, when we did the last one, I think we had 30 people at the most, and that included family members and stuff. So it wasn't what you call a fabulous turnout. you know, for the amount of work that goes into the event. Cause we, you know, the equipment all gets brought in, the food, the, you know, just the setting up, people's time, it's all valuable, right? And years ago, one of the biggest downfalls we have found, Anne, is since we are no longer allowed to advertise events in the school system, like we used to be able to take our flyers and send them home with the kids for every event. You know, put them in the kids. We would, you know, put them into class files, or like we'd say, okay, well, there are, you know, X amount of classes over at Mono Amaran Public School, and, you know, this grade has 32 kids, this grade has 27, and we'd label them and we'd make it really easy. We'd put it in the teacher's mailbox, and all they had to do was hand it to the kids. We're not allowed to do that anymore, which is a shame, because it was the best form of advertising. Like, it was phenomenal. And the school board has said no more.
Oh.
So now we try and get the word out through social media. We try and get the word out through these you know, putting them up on mailboxes, through our own newsletters. And it's not nearly as successful as what we used to have. But it's until we can come up with another way of letting people know, I don't know what else to do.
I've got a question about the social media. And actually, Melinda and I and Fred, I guess we talked about it when we were standing at Make Mono Shine a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Social media can be very effective, but it's also very unreliable, and it's a bit of a mystery, because like I'm on social media, I look at Facebook, you know, a couple of times a day. I get notices of council meetings from the town, but I have not seen anything about Mono on a Bike. So why? Why does that happen? And I know you probably don't know the answer to that, but if you're paying for advertising and yet it's not reaching some of your target audience, there's a problem.
Yeah,
I have seen it. I've seen it a few times on Facebook. So I don't know why I'm seeing it, Dave, and you're not.
I only get event notifications for council meetings, but I've never seen town events outside of council meetings on Facebook either.
So there's one right now that I'm just kind of, I don't know if you guys can see this. This is my Facebook page. And there's one for an upcoming event that we're running, PD Camp Day, right? So that's on there. And I know if I scroll down, I'll find the Mono on a Bike one.
Yeah,
so
I think I saw the soccer registration on Facebook a week or two ago.
Yeah.
Well, here it came up on mine a day ago.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know why stuff gets fed differently to different people.
It's almost like it needs to be boosted. The low attendance events, like, they can get boosted.
But that's what we pay for. That's what we do, boost it. And it's cost us about $43 to boost it. And so we do pay for that.
It got one like. It also was added to the Orangeville and area Q&A community info page, where it got one share. So it's hard to know if you put just Mono, and you get different things, right? I put in my phone, I put Mono on a Bike. I get a sports event from 2017 comes up as my first hit. It was our event. We did it in September, and I have some friends that had liked it back then. But like, it's like, why is Facebook giving me, you know, the top hit, something that's 6 years old, right? Like it's
yeah, I don't know.
Right. it's a bit of a mystery, which is why not only do you have to put it on Facebook, but you have to put stuff on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and your website, and like it's a full-time job for everybody.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But Dave, you did say something which I'm going to ask tomorrow is, I don't think that our social media or our media department sends out, like, I'm signed up as well to get information, like when council minutes come out or RAC minutes come out or whatever, right? I don't think they give the option to people if they want to hear about events coming out. So I will ask about that tomorrow, because that's a really good point. You know,
Yeah, well, I do get some events, but I haven't seen anything about Mono on a Bike. And I just went on Facebook and searched Mono on a Bike, and like I think Melinda said a minute ago, the 2017 Mono on a Bike came up,
Mhm.
but nothing.
try Instagram.
Yeah, so the Mono, the 2017, and then if you scroll down further, then I actually found those other ones I showed you that was on the Orangeville community page, and so, but, and that's a factor that has to do with your SEOs behind your website and so on, and your accounts, right? So you're right, it is a social media can make some changes on some settings that can maybe get things going a little bit to more targeted, because that's the problem. I've thought about those Facebook, paying for Facebook things. It's like, I don't want just 10,000 hits. I want the focused hits of, women who want to learn how to ride a mountain bike, right? I don't care whether other people in other places see. So I haven't been convinced that paying is of benefit, but.
Well, I did get from Andrew the stats on Make Mono Shine. And it went out to over 6,200 people when we paid for the extra. 6,200 people saw it. So.
Right. And 60 showed up. So that's
so what's
1%.
that? 1%.
100.
That's 1%.
Yeah. Which I don't know, maybe in the marketing world of today with so many things blasting everybody, maybe 1% is an awesome return. I don't know.
How are you?
But anyway, do you want to back to your specific question, noon on Thursday to call it? I think it's a great idea. Gives us enough time to either go buy burgers or let everybody know. And what, 30 kids you're thinking? We've got 3 now. Let's see if we can get 10 times more kids in.
Do you want kids or 30 participants?
30 people.
Okay.
On a bike though, because you do have a point where the last event, there were lots of adults who would bring their little kid and stick the kid on the multi-purpose pad for the bike lesson, and they were off standing doing something else. So 30 people on bikes. But I don't know how you know that.
Well, I mean, we can ask. Because no, I mean, Dave, you just said 30 people, but you're right, Melinda. It's like, if that's 10 kids and mom and dad, then we're doing all this work for 10 children.
Well, the mom and dads count too, don't they?
If they're on a bike.
30 people registered.
If they bring a bike.
Registered.
Sure, if mom and dad bring a bike.
Yeah, particularly because if we're really going to take them around into the Menorah trails, I'd like, and a kid shows up on, like, I don't mind, like if I'm leading, I don't know who's sweeping. I don't know who's sweeping, but we haven't figured that out yet. But I'd like a parent with the kid. you know, and then our sweep comes along to find the parent and the kid having a problem, as opposed to just a kid sitting there by themselves, not able to get up a hill or having fallen over or whatever, right?
Fred Nix said that he would assist us.
Oh, we did?
So
Awesome.
there would be your sweep.
Okay. All right.
So
And then
how do you, sorry, I'm just trying to get the number tied down. 30 people on bikes, 30 people.
I'm thinking of the bike thing because I'm hauling all of those
Yeah.
stunts over to the park by
Yeah,
myself.
I mean, it is a
And then you
bike
guys-
event.
You
It
guys
is a-
are
It
leaving
is
and
a
not.
biking event. I totally agree. It's not a barbecue. It's a biking event where, you know, we're going to give you something to eat when it's done. But it's a biking event. So I'm in agreement for the
Yeah,
amount
it's
of
about
work that needs
safety
to go
tech
into this,
skills.
that 30 people on bikes.
Kim, will you know when they register that they're coming on a bike?
Yeah, we can ask. We can ask that. Like, I'll just tell Emma, because that, if they register just with an email address, then I'll just have her email them and say, how many of you will be bringing bikes? You know, how many are a parent? How many?
And then you were able to find a CAN bike instructor?
No, no one's gotten back to me. So I've emailed 4 of them now. I have not got I emailed one from Barrie, or one from Newmarket, one from Brampton, because those were the closest ones. And the 2 that we had before, sent emails out to them again. I've not heard back from either of them. I've asked Ralph and Fred if they have phone numbers. Their names are Scott McDonald and Anne, I'd have to look it up, or no, Kathy. Kathy is her name. But no one has their phone numbers. And I'm not getting any response from, I've sent them 2 emails now.
So there's no
And
one
they-
to instruct the kids then?
Nope. Now,
well-
unless we have a counselor, Ralph Tremills, who is a CAN bike instructor, or not, Ralph Mantuo is a CAN bike instructor.
Really?
Is he available on that day?
I haven't heard from him. He has not gotten back to me. Fred Nick
He was
said,
away on a holiday, eh? I don't know whether it was for how many weeks.
yeah.
And Melinda, you're a mountain bike instructor. Is
I mean,
that
I'm
something
yes, yeah, I'm a level 2 mountain bike instructor. So, but it's not CAN bike. I mean, I don't know what we've decided is our insurance or what we want to do. But I can certainly talk to some kids about their helmets but I don't do road safety. I mean, I know the rules of the road, but it's not what I'm. You know, my certification is for going over logs and around trees.
So
Okay,
I don't
well,
know if anyone has,
a big hurdle?
it
If we
is,
don't have
it's-
any instructors, then we don't really have an event, right?
I'm finding it very hard. Like, I don't know what else to do to reach out to these people. Unless Jeff from Cycling Elements, if he's got any leads, Yoan, do you think he might?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, because that's our format, right? That we've had somebody who's the CAN bike who, I mean, it is, they have a pat way that they do it. Like that's what they're certified to do, to talk little 5-year-olds how to make the sign, you know, stop and go and left and right. And all that. And that's what we've done. We've had them go around the multi-purpose pad and then they get a sticker from the CAN bike sticker guy to say that you're able to go out and across the road. And then we've ridden them down the road. Now in our new setting at Monora, we are talking about going within trails. We aren't putting anybody in traffic. But with respect to our event being a let's get kids ready for the season, they live in subdivisions, they're going to ride their bicycles to Monora, they're going to be going on roads. I don't know that we want to stray from the can bike format.
Well, I mean, I'll put another ditch effort in tomorrow, but again, I mean, I don't want to pull somebody from downtown Toronto. Like, I don't know how far they'll come from, you know, for an event that might have, like, again, I agree that we need to have at least 30 people on bikes, because you think about that as well, like, you know, the camp bike instructor comes up and I don't know whether we pay mileage or we haven't had in the past, but it's probably something that we should be considering doing, that we would pay their mileage at least to come to the event.
30, we would need at least 2 instructors with 30 participants. One person can't handle 30
Yeah.
people. So this is pretty tight because it is only 10 days away, and if we only have 3 people, if we don't have any instructors and we only have 3 participants, then I don't know if this is worth, like, we don't really have an event. The instructors is first and foremost the key thing. If we don't have that, then we really don't have an event.
So what do you think? Like, you're talking about canceling it now out of the gate?
I honestly, I think we should, I think we should push forward, and I can go further and wider, you know, with that list that's on the Can Bike website. I can phone Can Bike, the company or the association directly themselves, as opposed to just trying to reach out to the individuals that I've been trying to reach out to.
All right.
Yeah, they could probably connect you with people directly.
Yeah.
Well, we looked at this the last time we had the call, and it wasn't so obvious. Their headquarters is in Ottawa. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I'm happy to bring the stuff over and to go for, Dave and I are going to go for a ride on. I think we decided, I forget what we decided, whether we were just going to go the Friday or the Thursday before and put up some ribbons and make a plan for a route, and I'm all set to do that.
I thought there was a local person, and I don't know if I could be able to get in struck with her. There was one girl I knew who took Can Bike that Fred Nix knows. And she lives just up kind of in the Mulmer area. I'll see if I can't maybe reach out to them. Like, she's never done any Can Bike instructing, but I know she took the course. But her name isn't on the Can Bike instructors list, so I'm a little confused as.
Can Bike delivery agents, they call them.
Well, Scott and
Right.
Kathy
Like a
aren't
big
even
map.
listed, they're not even listed under the Ontario instructor, so they I guess they're no longer with Can Bike because they're not even on here.
Well, unless Ontario instructors are people that can teach the Can Bike program, is that maybe what that is? And then there's people that get certified under the instructors who can go out and, you know, help at events.
In many communities, an instructor serves as a delivery agent who the above paragraph said the delivery agent brings clients, instructors, and venues together. So in many communities, the instructor serves as the delivery agent, performing all of the administrative duties required to promote and run it, and runs the course and certifies. So maybe they just got tired and they don't do it anymore. But yeah, I guess a little bit more, one more kick at the can to get somebody, I guess, and make a decision before Thursday.
Okay, well, I'll keep you guys posted. I'll see what I can find out tomorrow. I'll, you know. Yeah, and like I said, if anyone knows how to reach Scott or Kathy other than through email.
And the emails didn't bounce back?
No, they didn't.
But they're not even listed here under contact. There's Kim, on the website under contact, under Ontario, they are not listed on here. So
No,
you
I
may
know.
not be involved with them anymore. I mean, I would contact the Brampton guy, Kevin Montgomery, or the Toronto GTA contacts. I would reach out
And
to
there's
these
one
people.
there. There's one there from Newmarket as well.
And there's one in Guelph as well. Guelph is
Okay.
only an hour away.
Okay. Leave it with me. Let me see what
And
I
he's
can
got
do.
a phone number.
Let me see what I can do.
Yeah, Kevin, Guelph, right.
Otherwise, like Kim, I don't know if you saw that email from Shannon Smith from Hockley Valley. They're willing to participate, but if I don't know what.
Well, I was going to ask you because you had in your email to her suggested, you know, if they wanted to bring bikes out or, you know, whatnot. So I didn't know whether you wanted to follow up with her, like saying that's great, you know.
Okay. Like, but what do we want them to do? Like, they don't have kids' bikes, so it would just be demo fleet for either the parent or, yeah, for the parents or just for display purposes, and then they would just help to promote they're really pushing their the new bike trails at Hockley, and maybe they have some vouchers to give away for a free pass or whatever.
Yeah,
but
maybe they just want to come and put a little booth up, bring some bikes, like, or bring a couple of, you know, sample bikes like that they rent out. Promote their program. I guess it would be more of a marketing thing for them.
Yeah, I don't know. If we're not, so I had a talk with the guy at Hockley too, and I don't know if they're not trying to teach people how to ride bikes. They really want to promote like skiing with the lift.
trails.
Yeah, promote their trails for people to come, pay money to ride around on their property for the day or the season, and the kids to come to camp and do it for 5 days in a row or whatever.
Oh, so they're not doing skills, or I thought they were looking for instructors.
Well, yeah, when I spoke to him, he's nothing is nailed down. It's like, what's that thing, nailing jelly to the wall? Like he was all over the place with his discussion about what he wanted to do, hoping to have camps for kids. So.
Like, and the kids would bring their own bikes to the camps, or they supply their bike, or they supply bikes?
No, kids bring their own bikes because they have adult bikes to rent.
Oh, I see.
So you would rent the bike as an adult. You would rent a bike and go off and ride around on the trails. And I guess as it grew, then they would be offering skills for the adults. But his target that he was talking about with me, you know, whatever that was, 6 weeks ago or a month ago, was children, wanting to get children. So
the only thing I can see that our program for them would be a marketing tool for them to come out and, you know, hand out their brochures and maybe hand out a free pass or something. I don't know.
yeah, which I don't know. Yeah, what we really want is, what we're looking for is, I think our format's good. We just need manpower, right? Well, and participants.
Well, we have the idea of the event. We just don't have people to execute it. Like the instructors is the key part, and then the participants, of course. So yeah, I don't know. I think we should, what's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Friday. I don't know. If Kim's not able to get a hold of anyone by end of day tomorrow, I just don't like, when do we call it? Like there needs to be
I
some
mean,
secure
if I can't,
something.
why don't we say if I can't get anyone by the end of the day on Monday? And then that gives people an, you know, just in case they've gone away for the weekend or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You want to,
Okay.
you want to do that? And then, so
Yeah.
I'll tell the CAN bike instructors if there is a possibility getting them, that there is a possibility the event won't even happen because we've set a limit, you know, that we need 30 biking participants for this event to even happen. So
Well, there's only one. Well, then we need 2 instructors. So do we lower it down to 15 participants with 1 instructor as a minimum, or is that just not worth it?
well, I think what we should do is we should leave I should ask the CAN bike instructor, how many can you handle? And let that be up to them. And if I say, look, you know, we're hoping for a minimum of 30 participants. Now, I mean, the CAN bike people, they're working around basically from about 9 till the bike ride goes out, which is 11. So there's about 2 hours. So that could be 30 people over 2 hours. So they might only have 2 people at a time to talk to.
Or 2 groups of 15 is what I'm seeing.
15, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess one group could be going through the bike chat, playing on the obstacles.
And the other one, yeah.
Yeah, could get broken up that way.
Because
the
going
CAN
around,
the CAN bike people normally set up like the pylons and all of that for the bikers to be able to manipulate. And then once they get their sticker and they've passed through that part of the program, then they can move on to the bike rodeo.
right, because the going around, well, of course, we won't have a multi-purpose pad that limits us in size like it did at the community center. We'll have pylons in the parking lot, so it could be bigger, but there's only so many times you can go around in that thing before you get dizzy. And so, you know, yes, you've shown your hand signals, and now, yes, you're done, right? Like that part of it didn't actually take very long, depending on
No,
how quickly the child picks it up, right?
yeah. And the kids were excited to get onto the, you know, the challenge, the rodeo part.
Right. So I think that it can be handled over our time period to get everybody ready so that they're ready for us to take them out on the 5K trail ride.
Yeah, so that like there's three kind of stages. There's the learn the skill, learn to ride portion, like the safety portion. with the camp bike, and then there's the do the skills portion, which is the rodeo, and then there's go out on the trail and do the ride. So there's three kind of different stages to the day.
Right, that you would split, should all 80 people or should all 30 people show up at the same time, you could split them up that way. But then also people having a dribble in, right? So you can be, yeah. I think 30 is an okay, I think 30 is an okay number over the period of time. I think it's an optimistic number that we're maybe not going to get. But. So, Anne, what do you think now, having listened to all about everything about is it care, and are you going to get your bike and come, or what's it?
So I do remember when Mono on the Bike was a big road ride, and I knew some of the people that were involved and really liked it. So now I'm hearing that it's quite different than what it was when I was aware of it. I also sort of feel that it's pretty optimistic at this point. We don't have the Canon bike instructor. We might get one, we might not. It's really intended more for kids because it's like learning how to bike and the bike rodeo. I mean, I'm not excited about doing either one of those things. So I think it's mostly focused for children. And I think listening to the whole discussion, I think we need to have for sure 30 bikes, but I think most of those are going to be children. And I'm not sure that we're going to get those numbers. I mean, I don't want to be a whoa negative, but I really wonder at this point if we're going to be able to get it together to make it happen. That's my take, but I've just been listening, and that's what I'm taking out of the conversation. So,
okay. Well, awesome. I think that what's happened in the past is yes, geared towards kids, but there's the family thing about it. That yes, there were some that I said that they came with the kid and they stood by the side, but then there were also lots of people who, as they were going down the road, because I was the marshal on the road, I didn't go into the park from the community center, but there were lots of parents on a bicycle with the kids on the bicycles, and so it could be good. It could if it's the weather, right? I haven't even been, I ride my bike every day, but I've been doing it inside. I don't ride it outside until the weather gets nice. You know, I understand that it hasn't been for everybody yet, that it's yay, let's go outside.
Well, let's just kind of see. I'll keep you guys posted as to registrations and CAN bike, and like we said, so say we get say we get the instructors, then the next hurdle will be to get the people, and we've got till noon on Thursday.
Yep.
So
Sally,
see what happens. And then
we had something. Sorry, Sally, go ahead.
Mine was just, I think you need to get the CAN bike instructor. I don't know if there's very many people that will actually show up. Like if you call them tomorrow or you call them Monday, they're probably booked up on a week. So it's kind of short notice.
yeah, like I said, I have no idea what happened to Kathy and Scott, why I'm not hearing back from them. Like I looked up emails from years prior, and I'm using the same email address. I don't know.
COVID, maybe they moved out west.
Maybe, yeah.
Anyway, let's be positive and assume that it's going to happen. So, Melinda, you and I should plan a day to go there and ride the course and put up signage. On my calendar, I'm looking at Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th.
Don't wait until after the Thursday so that we know it's actually happening.
Yes, that's a good idea. What time?
I've got a route selected in my mind, and I was over at Menorah yesterday briefly and measuring off some things, and I think I've got a 5-kilometer route selected, maybe 4.9 or 5.1, but I don't think that's going to be that critical.
Okay,
So, and I think it's all manageable for families, not too technically difficult. And Mono Nordic has signs that we can put up to mark the course, and I can get access to those and use those. So that part of it, I think, is under control.
okay. So do you want to ride around on the bicycle first, or ride around and put signs up simultaneously? Just wondering how big.
Why don't we, yeah, I don't know. Do we want to ride 5 kilometers twice? Do we have time? I don't know.
Yeah, well, if we just ride it, it should take half an hour. But if we're stopping to put signs up, it could, take 3 hours. Particularly if I can't carry all the signs. I'm not sure what the signage part is, but I can bring a backpack. What time were you thinking? Morning to give us more time?
Yeah, right now my day is completely free that day on Friday the 13th, unless I have some bad luck in the meantime.
Okay, well, how about 10 a.m.?
Okay.
Okay, and we'll meet in the parking lot.
In the parking lot by the pavilion, and go for a ride.
Yeah.
See if we like what we see.
Yeah.
And then, now a lot of it won't need to be marked specially, because I'm suggesting mostly we just use the yellow trail. So,
Okay.
it's pretty straightforward, but in order to get 5 kilometers, we have to go off the yellow trail for a little bit,
Right.
and add an extra little loop, which will need to be signed fairly thoroughly. But the signs are light and easy to carry, and they go in a backpack.
Okay, so bring a backpack for the signs. And do we need I know for my place, when I put signs, I was having sledgehammers and things like that to put the signs
No,
in.
they're like election signs on those wire stands. So you stick the wire in the ground, you put the Coroplast sign on the top.
So a wide backpack. Okay. All right.
Well, they'll be tall and skinny. You put them in a backpack, they'll stick out the top.
Okay. For chloroplast signs.
In
Okay.
years past, people like Fred Nix and John Wixon went out with backpacks on their back and put up these signs. It's the same ones, different
All right.
locations. Maybe we
I'm
should
glad
get.
I'm glad they're being recycled there, Dave.
Yeah.
By the way,
Well, but it's being reused. Reused is better than recycled.
reuse even better. So I imagine you guys have already discussed this about trying to partner with Jeff at Cycling Elements.
Yep, they're participating.
Yep.
They do the bike. They're on site for bike checks and
bike check.
minor
Okay.
bike repairs.
Because he seems like he would be a great resource for even finding somebody who has that CAN bike certification or whatever it's called.
He might be.
He might be. I don't know.
Yeah, no, he's one of my calls tomorrow.
Great.
Good.
All right. Okay, so we have soberly under control.
All right. Well, let's set 7 o'clock now. So how about we set a date for our next meeting?
Now, I was going to say, because we don't have anything coming up until
We break for
September,
summer?
end of October. And as far as, discussion about if this event goes off on, follow-up, we could do that through email. So I don't see us needing to meet again until September.
Okay.
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 I'm on a bikepacking trip for 2 weeks from the 28th to the 10th.
Of September?
Yeah. So how
Yeah,
about the 15th.
Yeah, that keeps us with the third Thursday, which kind of seems,
The 15th September.
does that work for everybody?
Yeah.
No, 5 or 5:30. Linda, can you go back, or Yoni, can you go back
Yoan.
to, Yoan,
Yeah,
can you go back to 5 o'clock?
Yep, I'll be back in school and I'll be in Calgary, so I'll be on Mountain Time. But yeah, I could, so that would be, yeah, 5, like I'm just gonna be in Calgary doing online school. So I think 5 works, if that works for everyone else.
Are you moving to Calgary?
No, because I'm gonna be out in BC for a month. Craig and I
That mono.
I'd be out there. I'd be for a month. We're doing a 2-week bikepacking tour from Kelowna to Canmore. Then I'm back for an in-person course for a week,
Wow.
and then I'm back in Ontario.
Wow.
So
That's
what
nice.
day were you talking,
Yeah.
Kim?
So
I didn't catch the date.
Thursday, September 15th.
September 15th. Okay.
The 15th.
15, yeah. I heard it now.
Okay. Good.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, you guys.
Have a
Okay.
great weekend.
Okay.
Bye.
Have a good
Happy Mother's
weekend,
Day
everybody.
to all you mothers.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Take care, you guys.
And we'll touch base on, I guess, Monday evening. Kim, you'll just send out an email whether or not, but just an update, I guess.
Yeah, it'll probably later. I have
Tuesday
one
morning.
meeting at 6:30 that night, and yeah, if I don't get it out before then, I'll be out after them.
Monday morning.
Sometime Monday night.
Okay,
Okay, great.
great. Thanks.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye now.
Deanne.
Bye, Kim.